This week on the pod, from plasma-powered plants to presidential peanut farms, we've got stories that'll surprise, sting, and maybe even steal your beef.
Bee colonies are taking a hit, and someone in Tennessee just pulled off an $80,000 meat heist.
Plus, we're talking farmers markets, fast-tracking food policy, scallop games, and the unexpected farm routes of your favorite founding fathers.
Strap in, it's a wild ride across ag, food, and natural resources this week.
I'm Braden.
And I'm Savannah.
Welcome to Magnetic Ag Ears Edition, where we bring you weekly ag news fast.
Just how you like it.
Savannah, I finally got to read Sunrise on the Reaping. I took my weekend, I took some time, read my new Hunger Games book. Y'all, it was great. Suzanne did it again.
Braden, once again, you lost me.
One of these days, I'm going to get you interested in all the things I'm interested in. Unfortunately, that is not this podcast.
It's a long shot, but we can keep trying.
We can keep trying. But you know what else I'm interested in, Savannah?
Hit me with it.
These quick hits we have this week are pretty interesting.
You want to start us off? I'm so excited.
I'm super excited. All right. Some cool news. Researchers out of Arkansas have been applying cold plasma to seeds to help boost plants' defense against pests. The study explored rice plant defenses against fall armyworms using seeds and irrigation water treated with cold plasma. This process creates plasma-activated water, rich in reactive oxygen and nitrogen molecules with antimicrobial properties. That helps kill harmful bacteria. Talk about giving someone the cold shoulder.
Europe is facing its first cases of foot and mouth disease in decades. Germany just logged its first case in 30 years in a white buffalo herd. Then boom, Hungary and Slovakia found it too. Quick recap, foot and mouth disease doesn't affect humans, but it's brutal on livestock, causing painful lesion, massive culling, and extensive handling care. Here in the US, no foot and mouth disease has been reported since 1929, and we'd like to keep it that way. This just might be a friendly reminder to tighten up your biosecurity practices.
Well, this stings. According to recent data, commercial beekeepers saw average losses of 62% of their honeybee colonies between June 2024 and March 2025. Patty Sundberg, president of the American Beekeeping Federation, says beekeeping businesses are facing unprecedented challenges that threaten their survival from colony losses we haven't seen in nearly 20 years. The swift response from stakeholders and the USDA is critical in providing beekeepers with the data and information to make well-informed decisions to sustain their operations. Maybe I should buy my honey and stock up.
Taking action on the health front. This week, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is hitting the road with nutrition pros and lawmakers to push the Make America Healthy Again campaign. What's on the table? Limiting soda and SNAP and banning ultra-processed foods in schools. Pulling in ag, Kennedy just teamed up with Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins in Virginia. Together, they fast-tracked updates to the National Dietary Guidelines. Regardless of what happens, agriculture is at the heart of it.
Savannah, that's a lot of interesting things going on in the world right now, and there's even more to come. I'll never believe what one of my favorite things about Chicago living there really was.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear.
So Chicago has like a thriving farmers market community. Like, it's really awesome. It's like a huge thing you do on the weekends with everybody. There's multiple ones that are out there. There's giant ones, small ones, all in these little bitty neighborhoods. It's really awesome. I did a photo essay in grad school over a farmer's market in one of the communities in Chicago. And what the most interesting thing I discovered in that day reporting, shooting photos, was how close-knit that community is around that farmer's market and the people that are there. I spent the day walking around with the organizer of the farmer's market, and she knew everybody by name, knew their life story, and knew just about everything about their products. Even in times it felt like she knew more about their products than they did. She was so invested in bringing these people into the space and sharing them all and sharing their stories with the community. And it was really cool. And so that's part of the reason I love farmers markets.
Yeah, that's a good testament to really what a farmer's market can be like. They can just be so fun, a fun way to kind of spend your weekend and get to know your community, get good food, fresh food. So what a better way to kick us off to this really exciting headline.
I know. So we're not just talking about our own feelings and our own anecdotes about farmers markets, although I feel like we could go on all day. But some new research has come out that is spotlighting what they're calling the power of the farmers market. Essentially, it's not just a food destination, but it's a critical pillar of health, community, and the local economy.
Yeah, so a quick little overview of the study we are sharing with you all about today is it was conducted by the University of Wisconsin-Madison in partnership with the Farmer Market Coalition. It was funded by the United States Department of Agriculture and administered by the National Opinion Research Center. The survey included over 5,100 individuals from across the country.
So, the study found that 80% of Americans visit a farmer's market at least once a year. Guilty. And for many, it's more than an occasional stop. The study found that 41% of Americans are frequent attendees, or which frequent attendees meant visiting 6 or more times annually.
Yeah, and why do Americans love to go to farmers markets? Well, the
Besides the fresh apples,
I mean, that's one big perk of the farmers market. The results suggest that individuals feel a strong sense of community and health benefits from purchasing, quote, locally grown produce.
the research revealed what they're calling powerful outcomes tied to farmers market participation. According to the co author, Dr. Brett Shaw, an environmental communication specialist with UW Madison, he said, "Our research highlights the positive impacts farmers markets have on the health and well being of individuals and communities."
Yeah, taking this down to more of an individual level, health is one of the biggest factors that people choose to buy from farmers markets for themselves and their families. More than 75% of survey respondents reported eating healthier because of what they purchased at the market, mainly just to access of this fresh produce. Additionally, 48% of responders said they felt more connected to others in their community through the farmer market experience.
And the positive impact doesn't just stop there, Savannah. According to this study, 49% of the respondents reported shopping at other nearby local businesses while attending the farmers market. And I can kind of attest to that. In Chicago, when we'd go to a farmers market, there was always like a fun restaurant or place that was local to that area that people would just go to in droves for lunch or brunch while visiting the farmers market. And anecdotally, I can back that up with statistics because another 42% said they dined at local restaurants on the same visit, which creates a good ripple effect for a local economy.
Yeah, I would agree. I think farmers markets are a great kind of encouragement for people to really get out on their communities, especially on the weekends. I noticed that's when a lot of markets are open. So get people out on the weekends and get them spending money in their communities. Darlene Wolnick, Senior Project Manager at the Farmer Market Coalition and co-author of the study, shares farmers markets are a cherished space for people to connect with their food, their farmers, and their neighbors. They offer unique shopping experiences that strengthen community bonds and promote healthy living.
This is all great, but it's not always that peachy. Was that cheesy? Well, you can laugh me off the internet later about it. But the study also identified some challenges with farmers markets, and the biggest one being awareness. Nearly 60% of the respondents said they sometimes forget when the market is happening, highlighting a need for more consistent communication from market organizers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's not the only issue kind of facing farmers markets. The data shed light on just the access that we have to farmers markets among market attendees who use Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program benefits or SNAP. 72% of them expressed interest in using their benefits at farmers markets. This really connects back to what Secretary Robert F. Kennedy is trying to do with getting fresh produce into our families. So maybe there's a way we can connect all that, but this signal is a clear opportunity to expand fresh food access to lower income households.
Yeah, so on that note, the lead author, Dr. Laura Witzlig, who's a consultant with the Farmers Market Coalition, emphasized this long-term potential, saying, "With these benefits in mind, we see potential for new or expanded partnerships between farmers markets, local governments, businesses, and community organizations."
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap this segment up, the study paints a beautiful picture of the farmers markets as vibrant hubs for health, economy, and community connection, what I think a lot of us are seeking. And as more Americans seek fresh food, local food, and stronger ties with their neighborhoods, the role in farmers markets appear to be more vital than ever.
Well, Savannah, I think I'm going to be hitting a farmer's market this weekend, but I'm thinking if I'm looking at the notes correctly, you might be able to help me decide what I'm going to wear to the farmer's market.
Oh, wow, that was smooth, Brayden. Very smooth. I can. Well, maybe. We'll see how your fashion sense is, but I came across a very fun Vogue article that shared the 2025 food and fashion trends. So, a quick overview of what this article all entails. It basically is an overview of the different types of food that you can expect to be referenced in fashion in culture this year. They have a whole write up about how Gen Z consumption habits will evolve over the year and what we can kind of expect to see, quote, trending. But I wanted to highlight what Vogue predicts to be the flavors and cultural aesthetics of 2025. Do you have any guesses?
So I'm seeing oranges. It's giving orange. I mean, I love orange, but am I right?
Try again.
No citrus?
Not even
Ooh, not even
close.
close. Vanilla, coffee.
N- no, I would
No.
love that. Yeah, no.
I don't know, Savannah. You're gonna have to enlighten me. I'm a bad guesser.
So we can all expect to see more pickles and cherries on our fashion and food menus this year.
I can get behind that. I like myself a pickle.
I know they are definitely trending. What Vogue expects all of us to be able to see coming this year is more pickle flavored drinks. I mean, I feel like we see a lot of them already, especially as we come into the summer months, just pickle flavored drinks. I noticed a lot of predictions about that. And then, as well as like flavors inspired in your dishes that you might find, like entrees and appetizers and that kind of thing. Also, these fruits and veggies, pickles and cherries to be the center of marketing campaigns, clothing designs, and beauty collections.
And you said marketing campaigns. Magnetic Ag goes pickling. Check it out. It's coming. Well, we're gonna keep on the food topic, Savannah. So something we absolutely love in our house is seafood. I know that's crazy.
Again,
I know, seafood again. We live in Oklahoma. It's a landlocked state. How do you like seafood? Why do you like seafood? I know, I know, I know.
I'm asking all these questions.
She's always asking these questions, asking all them questions, asking all these questions. However, one of my favorite things, and I absolutely love them, they probably are my favorite seafood, scallops. Savannah, do you like scallops?
I'll be honest, as we know, I'm not a huge fish connoisseur over here, but I will eat a scallop, one or two, and then I'm done.
So, here is something for you seafood lovers and potential aquaculture nerds, which apparently I'm becoming one, according to Savannah. Scientists at the University of Maine have figured out how to grow meteor Atlantic sea scallops.
Is that a goal? Big goal?
So, in the study, researchers compared two scallop farming techniques: lantern nets, which are multi tiered mesh baskets suspended in the water column, where scallops grow protected but need frequent cleaning to avoid gunk buildup. Gross, like your ears. And then ear hanging is the other method, where small holes are drilled near the hinge of the scallop shell, and the scallop is hung on a line, giving it more water flow and potentially less maintenance. So, what they found out in this study was that ear hanging scallops had up to 12% more adductor muscle. That's the part we eat.
Okay,
And
thank you.
grew, yeah, you're welcome. And grew slightly taller shells, about 1 to 4% bigger than their lantern net cousins.
Interesting. So I feel like that's progress.
That is progress. So, a bonus fact: ear hanging scallops grew faster in their preferred temperature, which is between 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit, but they didn't seem to love Maine's colder winters as much as the lantern nets.
Interesting.
So, one of the co authors, Damian Brady, who's a professor of oceanography at the University of Maine, says these findings are giving scallop farmers a clearer picture of how different methods impact growth and harvest timing.
I mean, what I'm taking away from this is that it's just the research is just a great tool to help farmers kind of find what they do best and really capitalize on the area and water opportunities that they have, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and some of the takeaways from some of the summaries and takeaways are saying that the US really imports a lot of its seafood still, but studies like this one are helping the aquaculture industry scale up and boost its domestic supply, which means smarter strategies and meteor scallops, which makes me happy.
Well, I'm glad you will be happy, and so will all of our other aquaculture eating friends. All right, switching gears, Brayden, what kind of milk do you guys drink in your house?
I usually go for 2% or vitamin D milk, just whichever's got the best expiration date in the cooler. Also, being an Okie, we prefer Brahms milk over all other milks. Highland is a good second choice, but we are big Brahms milk people.
Yeah, my husband also is a big fan of Brahms, but we are a very big whole milk household in this family, which is exciting news for us and maybe our kids one day. But a bipartisan effort may be bringing whole milk back into schools thanks to the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act. The bill will expand milk options in schools to include skim, low fat, 2%, and whole milk if it passes. Currently, the only options for students is low fat and fat-free milk.
That's not where I thought we were going with that when you said your options. I remember my options being simply just the carton of white milk, which I didn't pay any attention to because it was the white milk or the chocolate milk, and occasionally the strawberry milk.
Yeah, which interesting you say that. In a lot of schools, white skim milk or low fat milk is like the only option. But what I really found interesting about learning more about this up and coming act is that in 1985, the USDA recommended that children consume only low fat and fat free dairy because it was lower in LDL cholesterol, which for the last many years we have seen in our schools. But a more recent 2020 study done by the University of Toronto found that children who drank whole milk had a 40% lower odds of being overweight, indicating mixed results on the subject. So, kind of interesting to see how our nutritional landscape is really at the forefront of changing.
It's always interesting to see how science and the research we do on our food system change over time and our different findings.
I think it's a good place for us to round up. That was another great episode. Lots of fun things happening this week.
I know we love it when you listen to us rattle on here at Magnetic Ears Edition.
Thanks for listening in.
Are you loving all this piping hot ag tea we're serving you? Check out our twice weekly newsletter right in your inbox. Subscribe below in the description.